The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Hundreds of alien representatives filled the circular chamber, their voices mixing into a worried murmur. At the center of the room, a hologram showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in space. Order. We must have order. Ambassador Gray's voice boomed across the chamber. The tall, silver-skinned alien stood at the main podium, his four arms raised for attention. The room gradually fell silent. Our deep space monitors have detected a new spacefaring species, Gray announced, zooming in on the hologram. They call themselves humans, and their homeworld is Earth. The image shifted to show crude-looking ships leaving Earth's orbit. Several council members laughed at the simple designs. Gray waited for the laughter to die down before continuing. Do not be fooled by their apparent technological level. Our observers report they have gone from primitive combustion engines to faster-than-light travel in less than 200 years. This statement caused a stir. Most species took at least 1,000 years to make such progress. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. We have decided to initiate first contact, Gray continued. Our diplomatic vessel will arrive at their solar system in 3 days. High Commander Claw, a massive warrior covered in natural armor plates, stepped forward. His species controlled nearly a third of the galaxy through military might. These humans seem weak. Perhaps they would make good servants for the Empire. Gray's silver skin darkened with concern. The Council has voted for peaceful contact, Commander. Your Empire will respect this decision. The Council's diplomatic mission reached Earth's solar system right on schedule. Humans responded to their signals quickly. Too quickly, some observers noted, almost as if they had been expecting visitors. The meeting was set for neutral space between Earth and its moon. The Council sent its finest diplomatic vessel, the Star Bridge, gleaming with polished metals and advanced technology, meant to impress the newcomers. The human ship looked plain in comparison. A simple cylinder design with peace written in large letters on its side. They called it the Hand of Friendship. Ambassador Gray stood at the viewing window, watching as both ships prepared to dock. Something felt off, but he couldn't place what. The humans had been so cooperative, so calm about meeting alien life. The docking procedure went smoothly, too smoothly, just as the airlock was about to open for the first historic handshake between species. Warning alarms blared through the Star Bridge. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. A crew member shouted. Energy signatures match Claw Empire vessels. Gray's heart sank. He rushed to the communication panel. Commander Claw, what is the meaning of this? The Council ordered. The Council is weak. Claw's voice crackled through the speakers. These humans must learn their place in the galaxy. We will teach them now. 3 massive Claw warships appeared, their weapons already charging. The human vessel was caught between them and the Star Bridge. Gray grabbed the emergency channel. Human vessel, you must surrender. The Claw Empire's weapons will. The human captain's response was eerily calm. We see them, Ambassador Gray. We understand completely. Please move your vessel to a safe distance. Before Gray could respond, the Claw ships opened fire. Their energy beams struck the human ship directly. When the light faded, the Hand of Friendship was gone, apparently vaporized. Commander Claw's laughter filled the communication channels. See how weak they are. One shot and... Sir, one of Gray's crew interrupted. The human vessel. It was empty. Automated. No life signs were ever aboard. Gray felt a chill run down his spine. In all his years of first contact, he had never encountered a species that sent an empty ship to meet new aliens. What kind of people would do that? The answer came 6 months later, when the real human ships appeared. By then, it was far too late for the Claw Empire to realize their mistake. They had just started a war with an enemy who had anticipated their every move. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months of silence from human space had made the galaxy nervous. The Claw Empire celebrated their victory, but older, wiser species knew better. Silence rarely meant defeat. Sometimes silence meant preparation. In the council chambers, Ambassador Gray studied the latest intelligence reports. His hands trembled as he read them. Earth has gone dark, he told the gathered representatives. All their civilian broadcasts have stopped. Our spy drones show massive construction projects across their planet. Their moon. He paused, struggling to find words. Their moon is disappearing. The chamber erupted in confused whispers. A moon couldn't just disappear. Explain, demanded one of the senior council members. Gray activated the hologram display. Images showed Earth's moon, but large sections were simply missing. They're using their moon as raw material, mining it completely. In 6 months, they've harvested nearly 20% of it. The whispers turned to shocked gasps. Even the most advanced races took years to mine small asteroids. Using an entire moon as building material in months was unheard of. But what are they building? Someone asked. The answer came 3 days later. Observer Smith, a human spy who had hidden among alien populations for years, stood at his apartment window on a busy trade world. He smiled as his communicator buzzed. The message contained only 2 words. It's time. Across the galaxy, on the edges of Claw Empire space, a massive shape emerged from the darkness between stars. Local traffic control stations picked up an object larger than any known spacecraft. At first, they thought their instruments were malfunctioning. They weren't. The HSS Nemesis dropped its stealth fields, revealing itself to the galaxy for the first time. The ship was 17 kilometers long, shaped like a blade cutting through space. Its black hull absorbed nearby starlight, making it look like a hole in reality. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Captain Stone sat in his command chair, watching alien vessels scatter in panic. Send the broadcast, he ordered. Across every communication channel, in every known language, the message played. This is Captain Stone of the human spaceship Nemesis. We have come to address the unprovoked attack on our diplomatic vessel. The Claw Empire has exactly 1 hour to begin peace negotiations. In his luxury palace, Commander Claw watched the message repeat. He laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. 1 ship. They think 1 ship can challenge an empire that spans thousands of worlds. His admiral seemed less confident. Sir, our scans. They don't make sense. The human vessel's hull is made of materials we don't understand. And their power readings. He swallowed hard. They're off the scale. Launch the defense fleet, Claw ordered. Show these humans what real power looks like. Back on the Nemesis, Captain Stone watched the Claw ships approach. 50 warships, each capable of destroying a small moon. They would have looked impressive to most species. Stone looked at his crew, all handpicked for this mission. Remember your training, he said calmly. Remember what we learned from studying their attack. And remember, we're not here for revenge. We're here to prevent future wars. The ship's artificial intelligence, ARIA, spoke with a calm voice. Enemy ships in range, Captain. Their weapons are charging. Stone nodded. Show them the courtesy shot. A single beam of light shot from the Nemesis. It wasn't aimed at any of the approaching ships. Instead, it struck a small, uninhabited moon in the nearby system. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the moon cracked like an egg. Its pieces began to float apart, held together by nothing but gravity. The Claw fleet stopped advancing. Broadcast on all channels, Stone ordered. To the Claw Empire forces, that was a demonstration using less than 1% of our main cannon's power. The next shot will not be a demonstration. You have 55 minutes remaining to begin peace talks. In the council chambers, Ambassador Gray watched the feed with the other representatives. One of them turned to him, trembling. Did we wake a sleeping giant? Gray shook his head slowly. No, he whispered. We woke something far more dangerous. We woke a species that learns from its enemies' mistakes. The Nemesis hung in space, a black sword of Damocles over the galaxy's head. The real war was about to begin. The Claw Empire's response to humanity's ultimatum came 5 minutes before the deadline expired. It wasn't the response Captain Stone had hoped for. Humans, Commander Claw's voice boomed through the Nemesis's bridge speakers. Your ship is impressive, but size alone does not win wars. The Empire controls 10,000 worlds. We have millions of warships. You have one. Stone watched the tactical display as more claw ships appeared. The initial 50 had become 200. Energy readings suggested more were on the way. Final count, ARIA. Stone asked the ship's eye. 237 enemy warships detected, Captain. Their combined firepower could destroy a small planet. Stone nodded, his face calm. Send the response we prepared. On every screen across the Claw fleet, Captain Stone's image appeared. He looked ordinary, just a human in a simple black uniform. But his eyes held something that made even the battle-hardened Claw warriors uncomfortable. Commander Claw, Stone said quietly, we gave you a chance for peace. You chose war. Remember that in the days to come. He paused. Aria, execute Battle Plan 1. The Nemesis moved. Not like a normal ship. Not like anything the galaxy had ever seen. One moment it was there. The next it simply wasn't. Where did they go? Commander Claw roared. Find them. Sir, one of his officers shouted. Massive energy spike detected at your summer palace on World 5. The Nemesis reappeared above World 5, the commander's favorite vacation planet. Before anyone could react, the ship fired a single shot from its smallest weapon bank. The beam struck Claw's palace with surgical precision. When the light faded, the palace and the mountain it sat on were gone. A perfect circular hole, 5 kilometers deep, marked where they had been. Not a single civilian building around the palace was touched. The Nemesis vanished again. Panic spread through the Claw fleet. Their sensors couldn't track the human ship. Their weapons couldn't target it. Their shields were useless against weapons that simply ignored them. It appeared again, this time near the fleet's center. Attention Claw Empire forces. Stone's voice was still calm. That demonstration used one of our point defense weapons, the smallest guns on our ship. Your shields cannot stop them. Your armor cannot resist them. Your sensors cannot track us. On his flagship, Commander Claw gripped his command chair so hard his claws left deep marks. All ships, open fire. Destroy them. 200 ships fired at once. The space around the Nemesis turned into a storm of energy beams and plasma bolts. For 10 full seconds, they poured enough firepower to crack a planet into the area. When the barrage ended, the Nemesis floated unchanged. Not a single shot had hit it. I see you need another demonstration, Stone said. Aria, show them the main gun. Minimum power. The Nemesis's hull began to glow with strange lights. Patterns that hurt to look at danced across its surface. A beam of pure white light shot from its bow. The beam struck a nearby gas giant. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the planet's atmosphere began to peel away. Layer by layer, the gas giant started to dissolve. In under a minute, a planet that had existed for billions of years simply vanished. Silence fell across every communication channel. That, Stone said quietly, was our main gun at 2% power. Your entire fleet combined cannot match what we can do with one shot. You have one last chance. Surrender, or the next demonstration will not be aimed at an empty planet. In the council chambers, Ambassador Gray watched the footage with horror and fascination. How? He whispered. How did they advance so far in just 6 months? Observer Smith stood beside him, smiling slightly. You assume we started building when you attacked us. He shook his head. Humans have a saying. Hope for peace. Prepare for war. We started building the Nemesis the day we first detected alien signals. The attack just showed us we were right to do so. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the Claw Empire would choose wisdom over pride. They chose poorly. The Claw Empire chose to make its last stand in the Three Suns system. 3 massive stars orbited each other, their combined light illuminating the greatest gathering of warships the galaxy had ever seen. 300 Claw Empire warships formed a sphere around the system center. Each ship was a kilometer long, bristling with weapons. They waited in perfect formation, engines glowing, weapons charged. Commander Claw stood on his new flagship's bridge, watching tactical displays. "Let them come," he growled. "No ship can survive concentrated fire from 300 vessels. Not even their precious nemesis." The trap was set. The bait was simple. The Three Suns system contained the Empire's largest shipyards. Claw knew the humans would have to destroy them to win this war. At exactly midnight standard time, the nemesis appeared. But something was different this time. The great black ship didn't try to hide. It didn't vanish and reappear. It simply moved forward, straight into the trap. "All ships, open fire," Claw roared. 300 ships fired as one. The space between them and the nemesis turned into a solid wall of energy. Nothing could survive that much firepower. The nemesis's hull began to glow with those strange, eye-hurting patterns again. But instead of firing, something else happened. The ship began to change. Its solid black surface became transparent, then translucent. Then, before the eyes of 300 crews, the nemesis simply phased out of normal space. Every shot passed straight through it. Impossible. Claw slammed his fist on his command console. "Nothing can do that. Matter cannot." "Sir," his science officer interrupted. "The nemesis, it's inside the fleet formation." The human ship had somehow moved through the wall of fire, through dozens of warships, to appear in the very center of the Claw formation. Its hull solidified again, becoming that familiar, light-absorbing black. Captain Stone's voice came through every speaker in every ship. "Area. Execute Battle Plan Omega. Show them what dimensional warfare really means." The nemesis weapons opened fire, but these weren't the simple energy beams from before. Each shot bent reality itself. One beam struck a Claw ship and aged it 10,000 years in an instant. The mighty warship crumbled to dust as time itself became a weapon. Another shot created a temporary black hole that swallowed 3 ships before collapsing. A third beam split space itself, cutting 5 ships in half as cleanly as a knife through paper. "Return fire," Claw ordered, but the nemesis was moving again, not by normal engines, but by folding space around itself. The human ship danced between dimensions. Sometimes it was solid, sometimes ghost-like, sometimes it seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Each appearance brought more destruction. Some Claw ships tried to flee. The nemesis didn't let them. Shots that bent time and space chased them down. Ships that jumped to light speed found themselves suddenly back in the battle, caught in temporal loops. In the council chambers, representatives watched in horror as the greatest fleet ever assembled was systematically taken apart by a single ship. "We didn't just underestimate their technology," Ambassador Gray whispered. "We underestimated their understanding of reality itself." Observer Smith nodded. "Humans had theories about dimensional warfare for centuries. We just needed a reason to turn those theories into weapons." Back in the battle, Commander Claw watched his fleet die. Ships that had ruled the galaxy for centuries were being destroyed by weapons that shouldn't exist. Physics itself seemed to bow to human will. After exactly 1 hour, it was over. The Three Suns system was filled with debris from 300 destroyed warships. The mighty shipyards were twisted ruins, and in the center of it all, the nemesis floated unchanged, untouched, its black hull still perfect. Captain Stone opened a channel to Claw's crippled flagship. "Commander, this was not a battle. This was a demonstration. Your entire empire has just seen what one human ship can do. We have more." The galaxy watched, waiting for the Empire's response. But everyone already knew the age of the Claw Empire was over. The age of humanity had begun. The Battle of Three Suns changed everything. Footage of the fight spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Species that had feared the Claw Empire for generations watched in amazement as their weapons proved useless against human technology. In the Great Council Chamber, representatives from 100 worlds studied the battle recordings frame by frame. They watched the Nemesis phase through solid matter. They saw weapons that bent time and space. But most importantly, they saw how the humans had specifically avoided civilian targets. Ambassador Gray stood at the speaking platform, his silver skin pale with worry. "The battle footage confirms our worst fears," he announced. "The humans don't just have advanced technology. They understand sciences we haven't even discovered yet." A small device floated in the center of the chamber, a piece of debris from the battle. It was a chunk of the Nemesis's outer hull, torn off during the fight. The Council's best scientists had been studying it for days. Now, their lead researcher stepped forward to present their findings. "This material," the scientist said, pointing to the black fragment, "doesn't just absorb energy. It can shift between different dimensional states. But here's the truly frightening part. It's made from elements that don't exist in our periodic table." Gasps filled the chamber. Creating new elements was supposed to be impossible. Observer Smith stood in the back of the room, sending regular reports to Earth. He smiled as he watched the aliens try to understand human capabilities. They were still missing the bigger picture. On the other side of the galaxy, smaller powers began reaching out to Earth. Worlds that had lived under Claw Empire threats for centuries now sought human protection. Trade offers poured in. Alliance requests filled human communication channels. The Nemesis remained in the Three Suns system, overseeing the surrender of local Claw forces. Captain Stone stood on his bridge, watching ships line up to lay down their arms. "Captain," Araya announced, "Admiral Reed's diplomatic vessel has arrived at the council chambers. He's ready to present our terms." Stone nodded. "Show me the feed." The council chamber appeared on his screen. Admiral Reed, a tall human in a simple white uniform, stood before the gathered representatives. Unlike the ornate uniforms of alien diplomats, his only decoration was a small Earth symbol on his collar. "Members of the council," Reed began, his voice calm but firm. "Humanity comes before you not as conquerors, but as guardians. The Battle of Three Suns was not fought for territory or revenge. It was fought to end an era of bullying and fear." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We have 3 demands. First, the Claw Empire will release all occupied worlds. Second, a new defense council will be formed, with all species having equal representation. Third, and most importantly, the galaxy will learn to solve problems through diplomacy rather than force." One brave representative spoke up. "And if we refuse?" Reed smiled gently. "We won't force anyone to join us. But know this, the Nemesis was just a test ship, a prototype. Even now, Earth's shipyards are building more advanced vessels. We don't want to use them, but we will if peace requires it." In his hidden observation post, Observer Smith received a message from Earth. He read it and grinned. It was time to reveal another card from humanity's hand. He stepped forward, surprising the council. "Representatives, you think the Nemesis was built in 6 months after the Claw attack. The truth is, we started building it 10 years ago, when we first detected alien radio signals." The chamber went silent. "Humanity has always believed we weren't alone," Smith continued. "So we prepared. The Nemesis isn't just a warship, it's a message. Attack us, and we will respond. Seek peace, and you'll find no better friends." Ambassador Gray finally understood. "You were testing us all along. The empty diplomatic ship, the 6 months of silence, the single ship response. You were studying how we would react." Smith nodded. "Humanity learned long ago. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. The Claw Empire chose the worst. Now, who will choose peace?" One by one, representatives stood. The galaxy was changing. The Age of Force was ending, and humanity would make sure it never returned. The warning came from Earth's long-range sensors. A massive Claw Empire fleet was gathering for one final desperate attack. Not against human colonies or military bases, but against Earth itself. Commander Claw had gone mad with rage. He had gathered every remaining ship in his empire, over 500 warships. But that wasn't what worried Earth's Defense Command. They've stripped their weapons, Captain Stone reported from the Nemesis. They've packed their ships with antimatter. They plan to ram Earth. In the council chambers, Ambassador Gray watched the situation unfold with horror. They're trying to trigger a chain reaction, he explained to the other representatives. If those ships hit Earth's atmosphere, Earth would be destroyed. Observer Smith finished, along with most of the solar system. But something was strange. The humans didn't seem worried. Earth hadn't evacuated. Their defense fleet hadn't moved to intercept. They were waiting for something. The Claw suicide fleet dropped out of light speed at the edge of the solar system. Commander Claw's message was broadcast across all channels. If we cannot rule the galaxy, we will at least be remembered as the ones who destroyed humanity. The fleet accelerated toward Earth. Their engines pushed beyond safety limits. 500 ships, each carrying enough antimatter to destroy a continent, screamed toward humanity's homeworld. That's when Earth revealed its final secret. The moon shifted, not the way small objects move, but like a massive door opening. The crater-covered surface split apart, revealing what humanity had been building inside their moon for the past decade. It was a weapon. No, it was more than a weapon. It was a machine that could reshape reality itself. This, Captain Stone's voice was calm as ever, is why we were mining our moon. Not for materials. We were hollowing it out to build this. The massive device hummed to life. Strange energies rippled across space. Commander Claw laughed. No weapon can stop 500 ships at once. We are too close. Too fast. Who said anything about stopping you? Stone replied. The device fired. But instead of a beam or explosion, it created something else entirely. A sphere of distorted space expanded from the moon, engulfing Earth and the approaching fleet. Inside the sphere, the laws of physics changed. The antimatter in the Claw ships simply stopped existing. The fundamental forces that allowed it to exist were temporarily rewritten. What should have been the largest explosion in human history became nothing more than a fleet of suddenly powerless ships. The Nemesis moved then, no longer holding back. It split into 3 copies of itself, each as real as the original, operating in different dimensions simultaneously. Wait, Claw screamed. You said the Nemesis was your prototype, your test ship. We did, Stone agreed. We just never said what we were testing. The 3 Nemesis ships opened fire, not with the limited weapons they'd shown before, but with their full arsenal. Beams that accelerated time until ships rusted away in seconds. Waves that shifted matter into antimatter and back. Shots that created temporary universes to safely contain explosions. In the council chambers, the representatives watched in stunned silence. All this time, Ambassador Gray whispered, they weren't just ahead of us technologically. They were operating on a completely different level of science. Observer Smith nodded. We learned something important from our history. True power isn't about destruction. It's about control. We didn't build weapons that could destroy planets. We built tools that could control the very laws of physics. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 5 minutes. When it was done, the Claw fleet floated powerless. No lives lost, no massive explosions, just 500 ships full of very shocked warriors who had discovered that their understanding of reality was fundamentally wrong. Captain Stone opened a channel to Commander Claw's ship. This is your final lesson. Humanity doesn't want to destroy. We don't want to kill. We have the power to rewrite physics itself, and we use it to preserve life. Surrender and help us build a better galaxy. In the darkness of space, the moon closed its massive doors. Earth continued its peaceful orbit. And the galaxy learned that true power isn't about who has the biggest weapons. It's about who has the wisdom to use power properly. 1 year after the final battle with the Claw Empire, the galaxy had changed beyond recognition. The Great Council Chamber, once a place of political games and power plays, now hosted representatives from every known species, all equal, all with the same voting power. At the center of the chamber stood the same black fragment of the Nemesis's hull. But now it wasn't a symbol of fear. It was a reminder of how everything had changed. Ambassador Gray, now elected as head of diplomatic relations, addressed the gathered representatives. 1 year ago, we thought we understood power. We thought we knew what made a species great. He gestured at the hull fragment. Humanity taught us how wrong we were. The chamber's main screen activated, showing scenes from across the galaxy. Former Claw Empire worlds now flourished under self-governance. Trade routes once controlled by military force now flowed freely. And above it all, human ships patrolled, not as conquerors, but as guardians. Observer Smith, now serving openly as Earth's chief representative, stood up to speak. Many have asked why we revealed only a fraction of our capabilities at first, why the Nemesis pretended to be less powerful than it was, why we hid our true technology. He smiled, looking around the chamber. The answer is simple. We were testing the galaxy's character. The screen changed to show Earth's moon opening again, but this time, it revealed not just one reality-altering device, but an entire network of them, a defense system that could protect not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Humanity had a choice to make, Smith continued. When we first detected alien life, we knew we were at a crossroads. We could build weapons to destroy, or tools to protect. We chose protection. Captain Stone appeared next on the screen, speaking from the Nemesis's bridge. The Claw Empire's attack on our diplomatic vessel wasn't a surprise. We had predicted it, planned for it, used it to understand who would stand with justice and who would side with power. The screen split to show more human ships emerging from hidden bases throughout Earth's solar system. Each was different from the Nemesis, yet equally advanced. Some could create stable wormholes for instant travel. Others could terraform dead worlds into paradise planets. All of them served not to destroy, but to build. Commander Claw, now stripped of his military rank, watched from a rehabilitation center. The humans hadn't imprisoned him. Instead, they were teaching him and his people new ways to use their strength. We thought we were the most advanced species, he admitted to his therapist. We didn't understand that true advancement isn't about weapons. It's about wisdom. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Gray revealed one final surprise. Humanity didn't just prepare defenses, he announced. They prepared opportunities. Their ships carry libraries of scientific knowledge, medical breakthroughs, and technological innovations, all ready to be shared with peaceful species. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. Centuries of scientific progress were being offered freely to any species that committed to peace. Observer Smith raised his hand for attention. But remember, this gift comes with responsibility. Earth will continue to watch, continue to protect, and if necessary, continue to demonstrate why peace is the better choice. The Nemesis appeared in orbit above the Council world, visible through the chamber's transparent dome. But now everyone understood what it really was, not just a warship, but a symbol. A reminder that humanity had chosen to be the galaxy's guardians rather than its conquerors. The age of military empires is over, Smith declared. The age of cooperation has begun. Earth stands ready to help any species that chooses progress over power, creation over destruction, wisdom over force. As the council session ended, Ambassador Gray approached Smith privately. There's still one thing I don't understand, he said. How did humans become so advanced without any other species noticing? Smith laughed softly. That's simple, Ambassador. We spent thousands of years fighting among ourselves, developing weapons, dreaming of space. But when we finally looked up at the stars, we asked ourselves one question. What kind of species do we want to be when we meet our galactic neighbors? Above them, the Nemesis floated silently in space, its black hull reflecting starlight. Not as a threat, but as a promise. Humanity would keep the peace, not through fear, but through wisdom. The story of humanity's rise to power was over. The story of humanity's guardianship of galactic peace was just beginning.